I've come to understand more than ever that you should never, or I should never, underestimate the weight or the perceived value of a name. I've hinted at some of this in the past where, I've said that many luxury vehicles are just needlessly overpriced for what you get. It's just because of the associated brand. But now, don't get me wrong, Honda is not an over-evaluated brand. However, I have been very critical of Honda in the not so distant past, where I've simply been saying that, well, they're out to lunch with the pricing and the packaging. Not the design or the drive, but just the way they're introducing their vehicles to the market. And when you build one online, so many things don't make sense. And I've done this also in the past, where I admit that, well, I love Honda. And you won't hear me, this is bad, but also, and you won't hear me say I love Ford, or I love Tesla, or I love Buick, or I love BMW. Old BMW maybe, but and I've owned, or I've called my own, a number of Hondas over the last decade or so. In fact, all three of them were Civics. Well, CRX, Del Sol, and a Type R. So not your typical Civics, but okay. All this to say is that this is the 2025 Honda Civic, recently completely redone. And as with all Civics, there's never really anything to complain about. And that absolutely applies to this car. This is a 2025 Honda Civic Sport Touring Hybrid. Effectively the pinnacle of all Honda Civics, non-Type R, of course. Sedans also. Yeah, because there are a lot of versions. Anyway, point being that, look, I like to do this stupidly in a number of my videos, is I just say out front that, or give you the answer, the conclusion. This is an awesome car. It's gorgeous, but it's stupidly expensive. And if you take a moment and consider the alternatives, one being Toyota Corolla, and you weigh them on a scale, Honda is once again completely lost. I don't know what they're doing. But it's a great car. And it's a Honda Civic. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be the best-selling car again in Canada in 2024. Thus, the value, the weight behind a name, Honda Civic, though we can't take anything away from Toyota Corolla, but in Canada, Honda Civic just carries so much. And I think Honda is milking that as much as they possibly can, especially when it comes to the hybrids. Anywho, in the following video, we're going to do a few laps of this gorgeous Lagoon Blue 2025 Civic Hybrid, and then we're going to go for a drive. Very spirited drive, in fact. So please hang in there. All right, so as we close into this gorgeous Blue Lagoon, Lagoon Blue, Blue Lagoon, same difference. Civic sedan, I'll just give you about a few ideas about pricing. So the base price in the US for the Civic sedan, $24,250. If you step up to the base hybrid, which is the Sport, you're looking at $28,950, and an extra $3,000 will get you the top trim Sport Touring Hybrid, which is this. In Canada, the base sedan is a whopping $27,840 for a base Civic sedan. I don't know. Maybe I've been living under a rock for the last decade. Base Sport Hybrid is $33,600, and this one, as it almost sits before you, $37,100. Base features, I mean, it's not so bad. Once, and I am specifically talking about the Civic Hybrid. I have steering wheel paddles, which are completely useless. I'll tell you more about that in a few moments. A synthetic leather, dual 7-inch display, so 7-inch touchscreen display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, heated steering wheel, seats, 18-inch wheels, remote start. Not bad, not bad. The extra $3,500 to get into the Touring gets you 9-inch display, real leather, 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster, power seats, Bose audio, rear heated seats, and the extra few bucks for the paint. You're looking at just shy of $38,000 with the carpets included. That's a lot of money for a Honda Civic. I don't know, but it does look fantastic. Look, while we're staring at it together, just take into consideration that a base Prius all-wheel drive, my friends, starts at $38,165. Has more trunk, but equal features, and the Corolla Hybrid, right? If you compare it to this one, $37,100, you can get an XSE all-wheel drive for $36,355. It doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned. Price-wise is what I mean. But trunk space is not, trunk space is not so bad at 418 liters. It's good size, good opening, typical Civic, smart stuff. There isn't much else to say as far as things you have seen already. I mean, the Civic is very spacious. It's, I don't know, look at the size of the walkway. When both seats are in there, I forgot that I took it out because I had people on board, or I should say adults. One disappointing thing about the car, the seats, no lumbar support whatsoever. So they're actually not that comfortable after only about 40 minutes of driving. But everything on board is gorgeous, as you can expect from Honda. I mean, the fit, finish, and the display inside this car is just exceptional. There's a digital IP, your 9-inch display. I mean, the menus are very straightforward. Thankfully, the hard buttons are always there. And this beautiful dashboard. This is what I was talking about when I did the pilot review. This is magnificent in comparison. Storage is okay. I won't play in the box there, but it's lovely, lovely inside. And visibility is quite good too, right down to the very, very thin A-pillars and the wonderful opening there. Drive modes, I guess we can touch on. Econ, and I will be honest right now, I've been driving an Econ exclusively, so I haven't even configured my individual drive mode, as I won't bother. There's no point, and I do love the physical HVAC controls. Anyhow, drive time, let's go. Okay, so what I said, about Hondas, they look great and they still fantastic to drive. Well, that absolutely applies to the Civic. It does have, I didn't show it to you because I forgot, because now I'm thinking about it. It does have one serious flaw, and it's interesting because I didn't notice it in the other Civics that I've driven. This is the first Civic Hybrid that I drive. The turning radius is catastrophic. And I'm going to be, once again, straight up honest with y'all, right here, right now. I underestimated said turning radius and actually gently, that's my tripod, gently kissed a curb. Yeah, it was snow, so I thought it was a little further, but it was actually a lot closer. And so a little scuff on a wheel because, well, I misjudged it and the turning radius is horrible. But otherwise, I mean, steering is fantastic. Everything feels so light and agile. Multi-link, McPherson, multi-link, yeah, okay, we saw that. The ride quality is superb. It feels like a Civic. It's very sporty, it's very tout, but not uncomfortable. It's just a real pleasure to drive. Brake pedal feedback and performance, brake performance is wonderful. Nothing to complain there. What I said about the paddles, I think I forgot to show them to you, but they kind of control a regen braking function. And I think it was in the Clarity the last time I experienced this, or was it the CR-V Hybrid? Memory is what memory does. And they are utterly useless because every time you come to a stop, it resets to 0. There are 4 functions: off, 1, 2, 3, intensity, but it never stays. So you have to use them all the time. And the up paddle is utterly pointless unless, maybe if you're in traffic, but look, so far this week, nothing, useless, utterly useless. What isn't useless though is 2-liter naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with the ECVT, so the hybrid system, which puts out a very, very interesting 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. So instant 232 pounds of torque between 0 and 2,000 RPM, which, like, off the line with the ECVT, feels like it's insanely fast. Like, I won't say Type R fast, but I mean, that's a real push into the seat back. It's something else. But you know, it dies off, but the fake shifts from the ECVT kind of give you the impression that you're driving something that's very sporty. Finally, fuel consumption. So this is the other thing. Every experience I've had with Toyota hybrid synergy drive vehicles, be it Corolla, Corolla Cross, Highlander, Sienna, and so on and so forth, have all delivered impressive fuel numbers. But a Corolla hybrid XSE all-wheel drive, unless I'm mistaken, is rated at 5 or 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers. If not the XSE, then at least the LE all-wheel drive, which I think is rated at 4.8 or 4.9, which is what the Civic hybrid is rated at, combined city and highway, 4.8. That's part one. Part two is that I've been good. And as I've said, I've been driving exclusively in Econ. And I can't seem to do much better than 6 liters per 100 kilometers. Granted, it's been freaking cold for most of the week. And over the last 2 days, much snow has fallen. Therefore, lots of wheel spin to be expected. But these are not unexpected driving conditions in Canada. And this, the fuel consumption, the price, the fact that it's only available front-wheel drive, all this combined compared to the Prius and the Corolla. This car is not lacking anything, but it certainly is far, far too expensive. Over this, I take a base Prius, all-wheel drive, and consume no more fuel than what this is rated at, not what it's actually consuming. And a Corolla, all-wheel drive again. This car certainly is better looking both inside and out, but I mean, it's a very personal thing. But look, it's a great, as I've said in the beginning, if you're still here with me, it's a great car. But again, it's another Honda product that's priced ridiculously high. And that is all.